My situation over the 12 years that I've been here entertaining you on television. Welcome to Hot Topics, Sharina Hudson. Getting out of my car with my money. Good morning, Journey. She'll be almost, I think she'll be 3 next month, don't you know? Good morning, Kelvin. It's my truth.
Sharina Hudson finally realized she had been chasing the wrong situation this whole time. She thought linking up with Kevin Hunter would be a win, but the truth hit hard when she saw how that man moved. It wasn't a secret at all. Kevin and Sharina were already sizing up a whole new life, planning to kick back together on Wendy's dime like it was nothing. The way they were ready to slide into comfort without even blinking was wild. Sharina had no idea she was stepping into a setup that had been brewing long before she caught on.
So I'm not gonna take a lot of time because, you know, I'm getting emotional. And I told myself I wasn't gonna do this.
Ever since Wendy stepped away from her show and got placed under that tough guardianship situation, Kevin's money flow dried up quick. That man has been running around filing lawsuit after lawsuit, trying every slick move he could think of to get Wendy to bankroll his lifestyle again. But once that latest case got tossed out of court, people started whispering that Kevin dipped on Sharina the same way he walked out on Wendy. For a while, nobody knew where Sharina disappeared to. While Kevin was out here pushing those lawsuits, she shut down her Instagram and vanished like she didn't want to be found. She went completely silent. No posts, no sightings, nothing. And now the word is that she's finally ready to break her silence and spill what she's been keeping under wraps all this time.
That it was not till death do us part.
And it wasn't just an incident. I mean, the relationship that Kevin had with this woman went on for...
No. Kevin was a serial cheater. Kevin had different mistresses depending on, you know, the part of his life. This last one was the one that he had the longest term relationship with.
Wendy has been dealing with way more than anyone should, and she's been fighting hard against that guardianship she never needed and never asked for in the first place. The whole situation pushed her through stress she didn't deserve, all while she kept trying to stand up for herself. Then a new assessment came out confirming Wendy was never sick, and she never had dementia. The very claim they used to keep her locked under strict control for over 3 years. Once that came out, people couldn't ignore how it looked like everyone involved, the judge, her former manager, her doctor, the bank, and even the guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, were moving together to block Wendy from touching her own money. The whole setup felt way too coordinated, and folks started side-eyeing the entire operation. And now, you know what? Karma might be circling back with something serious for anyone who tried to play her like that. Now that this new information is out in the open, Wendy might finally be able to shut down this whole exploitative guardianship and leave that mess in the past once and for all. That's a huge step, even if it doesn't mean she's jumping back into her primetime seat or rushing into work anytime soon. She's been through enough, and nobody expects her to sprint back into the spotlight just because the truth finally came out. And Wendy stepping away from work didn't just shake her world, it hit everybody around her. The whole situation sent shockwaves, even through people who couldn't stand her. It messed with folks who benefited from her success, and even those who talked trash about her on the sidelines. And yes, that includes Kevin Hunter and his mistress, Sharina, who were both feeling the loss heavy once Wendy wasn't out here bringing in that major money anymore.
Kevin had gone to LA for business. And I hired a PI. Yes, I did. I hired a PI to follow my husband. And this guy is telling me that Kevin is in Miami with the girl. This is where you show the picture of them on the beach. You know the picture where she's going to the camera and he's laying there on the cell phone like they're chilling like a couple. You understand what I'm saying? The PI was taking pictures of them going to the gym, going to dinner, her with Gucci, Poochie, and Lucci.
Gucci, Poochie, and Lucci. The whole crew felt the fallout when everything shifted. When Wendy walked away from the Wendy Williams show, her income took a major hit, And that change flipped the entire situation on its head. Because of that drop in earnings, Kevin couldn't collect a single dollar in alimony. There was a specific clause in their divorce agreement stating that if Wendy's contract ever got paused or not renewed, she wouldn't be required to pay him anything. That detail changed the entire game. Whoever added that clause into the paperwork had real wisdom, because it protected her at the exact moment she needed it most. And it exposed something too. People started saying Kevin had been banking on Wendy carrying him financially for the long haul. The way that clause kicked in made it clear he wasn't getting what he expected, and that shook up everything he had planned.
But what I needed at the time, because I was running 100 miles an hour, and I was so much of a strong support structure for her and all the dreams that she wanted to accomplish, I needed somebody for me. And my new offspring, my daughter, who is a beautiful, beautiful spirit, she was not a oops baby. She was not a mistake baby.
Kevin allegedly walked away from the divorce with a big lump sum payout and monthly alimony checks that were reportedly sitting around $250,000. That's a wild amount. He never seemed to think for a second that Wendy could run into health problems or that the money might stop one day. So when those checks stopped hitting his account, he was right back in court in 2022 trying to squeeze out another payday, filing a lawsuit to get the payments restarted. He claimed that without Wendy's money, he was completely broke, saying he had fallen behind on bills, stacked up debt, and couldn't keep up with the payments required in his upscale community. Since he couldn't pay the homeowner association fees, he was staring down the possibility of foreclosure. He even said he couldn't afford insurance for the luxury rides he was so proud of, which showed how deep his financial trouble had gotten. Kevin also admitted he was behind on his credit card payments by the time he filed that lawsuit. Things had to be rough because he ended up taking out loans on 2 of his high-end cars through a company called Flex Wealth just to keep his head above water. And on top of that, he was forced to put the place he shared with Sharina, their so-called lover's pad, up for sale because he couldn't maintain it once Wendy wasn't covering the lifestyle anymore. So they were basically stuck in a crash and burn situation once the money stopped rolling in.
You left your wife. Now, we may not care about her on the show. That's different. But you left your wife. Got you a side piece. Had a baby and was living a whole different life. And evidently Wendy Williams was the real bread maker. Because now you can't live that lifestyle without that check. The grass wasn't greener, huh?
The grass definitely wasn't greener. And when Kevin's lawsuit flopped and got tossed out, he didn't waste any time hunting for another angle to get paid in 2024. He suddenly claimed Wendy had supposedly hidden over $48 million from him during their divorce and said the whole divorce should be thrown out. He really tried it with that one. But the court wasn't rocking with Kevin at all, and people couldn't believe he was actually willing to drag himself through a whole messy divorce process again, just to squeeze more money out of Wendy. Earlier this year, he pushed yet another lawsuit asking for $250 million in damages against Wells Fargo, The Guardian, and anybody else who had a hand in her guardianship. He claimed he was doing all of this for Wendy, saying her rights were violated and that he got played by court-appointed guardians. So he went from suing Wendy to suing the people who oversaw her accounts. Folks put their opinions aside for a moment and focused on one thing. This lawsuit exposed just how deep the planning ran between certain people around Wendy. The bank, the judge, the guardian, and others looked like they were moving together in ways that didn't sit right with the public. But even with all that revealed, people were still giving Kevin the side eye because nobody believed he was pulling these moves out of loyalty to Wendy. They weren't together anymore. He had no power of attorney over her, and he couldn't file for anyone connected to her because there was no legal path for him to do that. So the whole thing smelled like one big reach for money, and not even a smooth one. If anything, it showed how tight his situation had gotten if he was coming up with plans like this just to get his hands on more cash. And according to people close to them, the money problems didn't just hit Kevin, they hit his relationship with Sharina too. As the bills piled up and the lifestyle shifted, Sharina and Kevin reportedly started arguing about what their next moves should be. The whole thing stung even more because Sharina was with Kevin for that easy, soft life. And suddenly, that life wasn't soft anymore. At that point, Sharina had to get out there and grind. She pushed her vegan food business even though it wasn't bringing in real income, and she went out and got her real estate license so she could start selling homes in Florida. Meanwhile, reports said Kevin hadn't paid any child support and didn't plan to until he got his finances back on track, which wasn't happening anytime soon. When the situation kept getting hotter, Sharina made her Instagram private and supposedly moved back in with her mother so she could stabilize her money situation. Now she's back online promoting her business hard, telling people to hire her as a real estate agent and selling the gut health products she created. Her whole profile switched up from showcasing luxury living to pushing her skills and trying to build real income. She's clearly working to take care of herself and her daughter. And word on the street is that she and Kevin have gone their separate ways. It's not officially confirmed, but people are talking like it's already done. Seeing their relationship fall apart like this has people calling it straight up karma because Sharina couldn't possibly have thought she would live forever off another woman's success. She eventually admitted that karma came knocking right on time. And honestly, a lot of people feel the same. Most wouldn't feel comfortable living with a man whose whole lifestyle depended on a situation that wasn't his to begin with. And the wildest part? Folks say he and his partner were allegedly planning to coast off Wendy forever. That's a cold thing to do to anybody, especially someone who worked for everything she had. It came off selfish, controlling, and completely unfair. So no, people aren't feeling bad for Kevin or Sharina at this point. Not when the truth of their setup is out in the open.